convention with a deep sense of accomplishment and satisfaction of what we have achieved this past year. I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve as the chairman of the Board of Trustees this past year. I will recognize at this time, just like as we feel very proud when our children did a tremendous job and achieved something. AAPI also did a son and children and one of them has done a tremendous job, both in India and in this country. Politically, he is well connected in this country as well as in India. Has done distinguished services to the community and also to the medical profession a very well. Ladies and gentlemen, we should be very proud, and AAPI is very proud of his son, Raj Bothra, who received Padma Shri. We are very proud of him, and of course AAPI is very proud of him. Dr. Raj Bothra, please. It is my great privilege to announce the most distinguished service award. Lady who has tremendously achievement not only in the profession, and he is the first person to perform the Batista operation in southeastern United States in 1996. And recently, the Florida State has honored him with a resolution, and he also has been selected the member of the board of the medical examiner of the Florida State recently. He is no other than Dr. Vijayanagar. Dr. Vijayanagar MD with the most distinguished service award in recognition of his leadership and dedicated service to AAPI. I'd like to recognize the next award, the most distinguished physicians. Ladies and gentlemen, the person has graduated from the King George Medical School, Lucknow. But I will introduce to Dr. Sudhir Gupta. Please. Please praise Dr. Sudhir Gupta with the most distinguished physician award in recognition of his outstanding, exceptional contribution to the medical profession. I will recognize Dr. Indra Pandit, who is the chair of the award committee. Dr. Pandit.
Thank you, Dr. Purohit. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Intipali, who's going to present the two presidential award recipients.
Distinguished Dais party and friends. This afternoon we celebrate the best among us, the men and women in leadership, the men and women who have shown unique strengths and compassion. We recognize those individuals who have taken new direction and paved way for an entire generation. This year, it's my privilege to announce two recipients of the Presidential Award. Both of these would be given out at the appropriate forum. The first award to describe the first award, I really want to take you back 100 years to the year 1891. I salute the memory of the lady who had the courage vision, and strength to do something generous and yet something very unusual. Ladies and gentlemen, it is people like Mrs. Carpenter that make the real difference in our lives. This award will be presented at the Women's Forum because I thought it would be appropriate. Can you please raise Mrs. Nancy Stone Carpenter? The second award is to Dr. Balasubramaniam, who is a very special person. You heard about him yesterday. I call him a special person, not a celebrity, although he certainly is a celebrity with 35,000 recordings in 9 languages and entering into the Guinness Book of World Record. I'm really very proud to announce the second recipient. Again, he will be receiving this award at another forum. And I want to thank everyone for giving me this opportunity to recognize people that I wanted to recognize. And this really is a great forum, and I want to thank Dr. Purohit for giving me this opportunity. This is also a forum to recognize some of the silent workers, grassroots workers that have really helped the organization to recruit new members, and traditionally we have not really had a forum to recognize the regional directors. May I please invite the regional directors to come up to the podium to receive a small token of appreciation, please. I also would like to ask the current Executive Committee and Board of Trustees to please rise and come up to the podium. I think half of the hall will be empty when I'm done. Current Executive Committee, just have a cup here, a small token of appreciation which has all your names on it. This time I would like to ask past presidents and past chairs Board of Trustees to come up to the podium, please.
I have to make one important announcement. The Mercedes car raffle will be drawn at the banquet time. There is one condition. If we sell 600 tickets.
Finally, I have a very pleasant duty to recognize the 4 medical students who won the Best Poster and Research Presentation Award. I happen to be a professor at a medical school, and therefore I feel that I can make a judgment about the quality of these, and they are just outstanding. We need to give them a big hand for the presenters of poster sessions, and they are just outstanding. And the winners are Milan Amin, Resmi Singh, Raj Bhutani, Jonathan Daniel.
Should also exchange their ticket coupon with Martha. Another announcement, ATN Talent Show. That will be at 3 p.m. in NI Convention Center. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really delighted to welcome you all to the Women's Forum of AAPI this afternoon. My name is Sundara Kulkarni. I'm a practicing obstetrician and gynecologist from Houston, Texas. Our first speaker is going to be introduced by Dr. Anu Sharma, who is a practicing pediatrician in Irvine in this Orange County.
Good afternoon, esteemed guests, fellow physicians, friends, and families. Dr. Lazarus will address the role of women in the military and what she perceives is in store for them in the next millennium.
It is an honor to speak to an audience of highly accomplished women, and I also see some men. And it is a great honor to share the podium with exemplary national leaders and role models. I was asked to share my perspective on the role of women and women physicians in the military and how I cope with the many responsibilities that I have and what to expect for the next millennium for women leadership in the military. Well, in the last 20 years, women are accepted for the first time in the last in the Navy. I was entering the Navy, which is a male-predominant workforce with a male-dominant leadership. Soon after I joined, I realized that I have 3 disadvantage points, which were my gender, my ethnicity, and that I was a foreign medical graduate. So I have to develop and market 3 leadership skills so I can be competitive. And I chose knowledge, attitude, and communication as my strength. So what can we expect for next millennium? I think finally the Navy has recognized the leadership played by women and it is contributions. So they have started to recognize and reward with the appropriate ranks. With that, I would like to thank the committee for giving me the opportunity to share about the role of women and women's leadership in the military.
I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our next speaker, Patricia Island.
So I feel very comfortable here, and at the same time, I am a feminist, and I know a lot of people find that to be the new F word. So you have been given you haven't been given, you earned a powerful credential as physicians. It opens many doors. It gives many people the clear understanding that you know what you're doing. Now, if you knew when you got out of medical school as little about the human body as I knew about law when I got out of law school, it's a little scary. I'm looking for the older physicians here. But it is a very valuable credential. You are role models. You've got an awesome responsibility to give back some of the privilege that you've been given in your profession. And you can do it individually. You can do it in an organization like this. You could join now. That's the commercial. Every one of you, every day, in the decisions you make, in the actions that you take, in the way that you raise your children, in the things that you say to your patients, in the impact you have on your community, helps make a difference. It all adds up and literally changes the course of our history. And so I urge you to move into leadership. If you doubt for a moment the value of women's leadership, the importance of listening to women, I'm going to leave you with a story that I somewhat hesitated to tell. And that is of Joycelyn Elders. You remember Joycelyn Elders was the Surgeon General of the United States. She got fired from that job because at an AIDS conference, she answered a question honestly and acknowledged that people masturbate. And not only did she acknowledge that, but she said it might be a safe sex form in the era of AIDS. And for that, President Clinton fired her for that candor. Don't you know he wishes he had listened to her?
Lalita?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to introduce to you and to welcome Srimati Meenakshi Sheshadri to the Women's Forum today.
Dance taught me to work hard, to make do with less hours of sleep, to relentlessly try to attain perfection. The film media taught me to deal with difficult people. Ego hassles, tantrums, complications, budget constraints, a lot of planning. And trying to find a life partner truly helped me define my own identity. And you will totally identify with what I'm talking about. And today, after having given a performance for AAPI just yesterday, which was my maiden performance of classical dance in the United States of America, for which I'm thankful, I could say I'm sort of on track. Drawing from my example, I could possibly try and generalize it for everybody. The point I'm trying to make here is that we all have our chosen professions, our chosen goals, or maybe we are just homemakers. But the moment we realize that this is what we want to do, we make it happen. And that, in essence, is true leadership. At a point of time, 5 years back, when I saw films all around me portraying women in 4 song and dance sequences, wearing limited clothes, I stopped and asked myself, is this all that a woman on the big large screen can achieve? Is this all she can tell to the multitudes of people who come to watch the films? When I spoke to producers, directors, and writers, I accidentally stumbled on what the problem was. Nobody knew how to define the woman of today, what scripts to write for her, what roles to present her in, and where she was heading to on the eve of the new millennium. That was cold reality for me. To understand that people were clueless. Can you imagine the feeling I felt? I felt as if the floor had slipped away from under my feet. I was aghast. And this gave me some clue as to where I was going to go. As always, it triggered off a new spurt of creativity within me, and I decided that I would be a filmmaker myself. Well, let me tell you something else. That is probably going to happen next year, and I need you all to wish me the very best, because we do have an absence. We do have an absence of filmmakers who are women in India and who are taken seriously. With that, I would like to thank you for this opportunity, for talking to you, and also to AAPI for giving me this opportunity to come and speak, where I have so many senior and much more experienced and mature people who have spoken. I have learned so much from them today, and I thank you for your patience and warmth.
Our next speaker will be introduced by Dr. Shobha Kolipara, who is a practicing pediatrician and extremely an active worker in both AAPI at a national level and also at local levels here in California. Shobha?
100 years ago, and listen to the story of the first Indian woman medical graduate, Dr. Anandbai Joshi, who was educated in the first medical school in the world in the year of 1898.
And I'm really fortunate that this really came about. And it is people like Mrs. Carpenter, who's great-grandmother of Nancy Stone, that make it possible. And when we talk about foreign medical graduates and we are talking about MSR section, here we had the first very medical student 100 years ago. So we've been here for a long time. This is the Presidential Award of Recognition. Really, we are recognizing the generosity of great-grandmother of Mrs. Nancy Stone. And we are really grateful on behalf of the entire Indian community and the Indian women. We are grateful to your great-grandmother, and we are grateful that you could come. Thank you.
It really has been a hard day. They put me next to a movie star. This is a terrible thing to do to a nice old lady. Knowing what I did about my great-grandmother Theodosia, I was not surprised when my grandmother told me the wonderful story about how Theodosia reacted when she read an old magazine in her dentist's office. She saw an advertisement written by Anandabai Joshi requesting spiritual and financial assistance to come to the U.S. to go to medical school. My great-grandmother was a bit of a crackpot and very spiritual, and she felt the call. Nevertheless, Theodosia prevailed and brought Anandabai Joshi here to study medicine. She was a gentle girl with foreign but perfect manners and quiet dignity, alone in a strange land, who approached her new life with immense courage. Because this tiny young woman had a dream to become a doctor and make life better for girls in India. And against all odds, she fought long and hard and achieved her dream. She would study medicine. She spent 3 years in the United States, in Philadelphia, and with my family. And at that time, we know she worked very hard, she succeeded, and she became a doctor. She died soon after her return to her beloved India. She was 21 years old. Her family mourned, and my family mourned. And though my family never saw her again, the day came when they brought her ashes, sent by her family in India at her request, to that quiet place in Poughkeepsie, New York, where she was laid to rest with her American family. I am proud to have been, I'm going to cry. I'm proud to have been chosen to stand here today and say, on behalf of my family and country, thank you very much.
Our last speaker, but not the least, is none other than the first president of I'm sorry, I made you almost the president. Kalplata, everybody has been praising you so much. I just said that is going to be your next step, is going to be the President of the United States. It's none other than the first woman president. And she's going to be introduced by Dr. Uma Iyuni, who is a practicing ear, nose, and throat physician, who's practicing in West Virginia. She's a great surgeon, I'm told, and a very, very active member of the Women Physicians Committee. Uma?
Thank you, Sundara. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the distinct but a very simple yet a very complicated process of introducing my very dear personal friend Kalplata Gunchapalli this afternoon. It's simple because we all know about her. It's difficult because I have 30 seconds. Here is Kalplata Gunchapalli.
Thank you, Uma. Before I begin, I want to present this bouquet to Dr. Sundara Kulkarni, who has done an outstanding job of organizing this meeting. I think this is the best organized meeting of the entire convention. And my strongest initial reservation was the men of our organization, I must admit. I had only a superficial acquaintance with Indian men on professional level. I was not quite sure how they would react to a woman in leadership position. I was well aware that the Indian men are the most well-behaved in an all-American crowd and comfortably assume the role of a king sometimes, king of the castle, in the more ethnic surroundings. Most of the AAPI business, like any other organization, is done before and after the meeting, as you know, and probably in hotel bars after dinner over a cognac. You know, this is what happens. You're all here because it offers you something that others don't. And that is what makes it so special for me, because I can tell you I can go to any corner of United States, including Alaska and Hawaii, pick up the phone, and I can find a friend, not an acquaintance, not another Indian name from Yellow Pages or White Pages. That's how special the members of this organization are. We are a very tightly knit group, and that no other president of an organization that could be 300,000 strong can say that with confidence. I can say that with confidence today. That's why I belong to this organization. I'm really proud to be the president of this organization. I feel that maybe I have taken to a different level, and I am very, very, very happy to be a part of it. And I can tell you just a few observations that they say that women gossip a lot, okay? That is not true. I think I gossip the least. I was on the phone the least. I never missed a conference call in 10 years, never missed a governing body, never missed an executive committee. I even took a conference call 2 days after major surgery with epidural hanging and IVs hanging. So I think that they will take us seriously. I hope I have opened some doors for all the young men and women here, men as well. Thank you. I really want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I think in the general body, they are discussing whether there should be a standing committee or not, the women's. So I guess after this, if they don't make it, I don't know what else women have to do to prove that they can put on a meeting. Thank you so much.
Kalpata, you have done it all. And I think the good Lord prompted something in my ear to announce she's the President of the United States, and I think that's the next step she should be taking. Now, for lack of time, we are going to skip the question and answers. All the speakers will be outside for a few minutes because we have kept them much longer than we expected. Please don't go away because this is the bonanza you're going to get. Our next item is giving away the door prizes.
Jam nitty gritty, you're listening to the boy from the big bad city. This is Jam Hot. This is Jam Hot. 1, 2, 3, 4, hit it! Go, hey, check this out.
Good evening and welcome to 17th AAPI Annual Banquet. My name is Mahesh Gupta. I'm the convention chair. It's my proud privilege to introduce my committee who helped me to go through this preparation, and because of that, we are here tonight. I would like to introduce AAPI President Dr. Kalpalata Guntupalli, my wife Usha Gupta, Dr. Jairam Guntupalli, Dr. Subhash Bhatve, co-chair, Dr. S. Balasubramaniam, secretary, Dr. Ajit Singhvi, treasurer, Dr. Jyotin Patel, host president of IMA Southern California, Dr. Priya Parpiani, Dr. Sudeep Singh, Dr. Dinesh Ghia, Dr. Mahavir Khemka, Dr. Ratan Tiwari, Dr. Sarita Kakkar, Dr. Manorama Sharma, Mrs. Sundari Ganti, Dr. Bharti Ghosh, Dr. Neela Karnik, Dr. Sanjay Jain, Dr. Ullas Bala, Bharti, आप पीछे हटते हैं, Dr. Kirti Junarkar, Dr. Rakesh Bhola, Dr. Moti Daswani, Dr. Yogesh Chaturvedi, Dr. Srikant Mishra, Dr. Satyendra Sarup, and Dr. Gopal Batra, Dr. Vinod Mishra. Anybody else left? Anybody else? Dr. Kishore Basant. Where is he? Other people who are not here, I would like to recognize Dr. Anu Sharma, and, Dr. Lalita Anand, Dr. Pramod Multani, Dr. S. Sankaram, I did it. Dr. Vinod Bhatia, and also AAPI Regional Director of Pacific Zone, Dr. Shobha Kolipara. That's it. Now we have to play the national anthem. So we have to take about. Dr. Sarad Lakhanpal, Convention Advisory Chair, who was the convention chair of last year in Dallas. Anybody else voting left? No, Kosik was not. just namaste bolo na. No. Now please all rise. We will have national anthem.
Without further ado, with all our special guests on the stage with us and all our special guests in the audience tonight, our members, very, very important guests tonight. At this point in time, in order to keep the proceedings going, I would like to introduce our MC for the evening, Dr. Mahesh Gupta, Convention Chair. Without further ado, Dr. Mahesh Gupta. Thank you.
Good evening. Mrs. Suraj, Madam K. Kalpalata Guntipalli, President of AAPI, Dr. Whittington, fellow members, delegates, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to welcome you all to the 17th Annual AAPI Convention, the very first convention to be held, which is being held in Los Angeles, California. Take a moment to reflect on what AAPI is. If we say AAPI, in Hindi, it's AAPI. We can go one step further, it's aap hi ki. That means it's for you. Though the acronym stands for associations of American physicians of Indian origin. We encourage you all to take the advantage of all about what AAPI has to offer. So, as you all enjoy this evening program, please keep in mind, Southern California cares for you. Ladies and gentlemen, every day has an importance in its own way. But June 26th is a very special day for me and in my life. On this day, June 26, 1969, I was blessed with my first son, Dr. Manish Gupta. On June 26, 1976, I migrated to this country. And today, I have the opportunity to welcome you all again on June 26, 1999, which made my dream come true to have an AAPI convention in Southern California. Dr. Jyotin Patel, host, president, Dr. Bala Subramaniam, secretary, Dr. Ajit Singhvi, treasurer, Dr. Sudeep Singh, and although I have a long list, but I have to make it short, Dr. Tiwari, the real money man. In last, I would like to say thanks to my wife, Usha, who helped me, who kept me total away just for this convention and has taken all other responsibility from my personal life for last 14 months. I want to thank her. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta. It is now my extreme pleasure and honor to introduce the president of AAPI, Dr. Kalpalata Guntapalli. Dr. Guntapalli is the first woman president in the history of our organization. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to present to you the 17th president of the American Association of Physicians of Indian Origin, our first woman president, Dr. Kalpalata Guntapalli.
Thank you. Before I begin, I just want to recognize one very special group of physicians of Indian origin. These are the physicians who are in the uniformed services, and I have requested a number of them to please come and grace the occasion. Would you please all rise? Thank you. Dr. Plested, Mrs. Sushma Swaraj, and dear friends. About a year ago, I took over the reins of our organization as your president. Before assuming the presidency, I asked myself, what could I bring to the table and deliver effectively in a year? I knew that I was inheriting a young organization, a 17-year-old organization full of enthusiasm. I guess you could not get anyone better for this job than the mother of 2 teenagers to mold and channelize the energies. We, the Indian American physicians, are 32,000 strong and play a vital role in the healthcare delivery in this adapted homeland of ours. Thank you, Al. We network closely with the AMA and contribute significantly to the IMG section and other related issues. To show our good faith, we issued a joint membership appeal with the AMA, which was very successful. I'm pleased to inform you that the medical student section of AAPI already has a delegate status in the medical student section of AMA. I'm just told that only this week, I've just been informed only this week that we have a possibility of having a delegate status for AAPI because of the numbers of members we have in the AMA as well. It is with this new realization that we started our legislative efforts on the Capitol Hill this year. And we continued what was going on for the past few years. In March 1999, we held our AAPI Capitol Hill meeting in Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to report to you that nearly 80 congressmen and senators interacted with our AAPI members. As a consequence, there is a greater awareness of our concerns among lawmakers. During that meeting, we have sought additional monies for a scientific study of healthcare needs of Indian Americans to the tune of few $1 million. That request was co-sponsored by an additional 30 congressmen, thanks to the efforts of AAPI. Graduate medical education and workforce issues are very important concerns of our organization as well. We have opened a formal dialogue with the Association of American Medical Colleges recently. We will pursue this dialogue with vigor. As responsible members of the community, we always believed in sharing our fortunes with the needy. It is in this spirit of giving that our charitable foundation runs 13 clinics in India, and our members and staff manage 4 charity clinics in US, in Chicago, Flint, Detroit, and a recent one was added in Houston. I'm proud to report to you that all this charity work, which amounts to a few $100,000, is funded through donations by our members. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, ours is a young organization full of energy and enthusiasm. As this millennium ends and a new era begins, we look forward with great hope and excitement. And I hope that I had taken our organization a step and a notch higher. It is my distinct pleasure and honor to hand over the reins of this vibrant organization to my colleague and friend, Dr. Ahuja, who is the incoming president. Now, while I inherited a 17-year-old teenager organization, today I am turning over an 18-year-old adult who would, of course, be probably drafted or ready for war or whatever, from a seasoned mother to a seasoned father. And I really want to thank you. I do have few duties to perform before I hand over the gavel to you. It is my honor and a privilege at this time to present a token of appreciation to Dr. S.P. Balasubramaniam, well-known playback singer, who has helped us raising a lot of money for our charitable foundation, Dr. Balasubramaniam. I would also like to invite Dr. Mahesh Gupta to accept a plaque on behalf of the convention committee for all the efforts for the last 14 months you have given us your service to AAPI.
On behalf of AAPI Convention Committee, it's my pride privilege to accept this plaque. Without this whole convention committee, this thing could not happen. Thanks.
Thank you. I also want to present on behalf of AAPI this plaque to Dr. Surendra Purohit, Chairman, Board of Trustees, for his advice and counsel to me and to the organization for years of service. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. We have a surprise for Dr. Gupta. When we said that we have a function, a large AAPI convention in Los Angeles, the Indian community leaders in Los Angeles area wanted to present you with a plaque on this podium. Are they here?
Ladies and gentlemen, I just have the honor to request Mr. Mahesh Gupta on behalf of the Indo-American community, those who are not medical doctors like you, recognize him for his outstanding services for the community service. Not only for that, he is also the convener of your AAPI organization today, and we all, the community, Indo-American community, is proud of that. I hereby honor him for that. Request you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the chairman of the Board of Trustees, it is my great pleasure to present this award to our great leader, a wonderful mother, and a wonderful wife, and First Lady, President of the AAPI, our President, Kalpata Guntapulli, which says, in recognition of the exceptional leadership and devoted service as the President of the AAPI 98-99. Kalpata.
To introduce Dr. William Plested, trustee of the AMA.
Madam President, distinguished officers and colleagues, it is my pleasure to bring you greetings from the American Medical Association. And particularly since I practice in Southern California, to be able to welcome you here to Southern California, where we are so happy to be able to be your hosts. On Wednesday of this past week, the 23rd of June, 1999, the House of Delegates of the American Medical Association overwhelmingly passed a resolution to form a negotiating organization under the NLRB to negotiate on the behalf of physicians. Finally, American physicians are standing up and saying, no more. We are ready to take back the care of our patients to ourselves. The heart of medicine is the incredibly special relationship that exists between two individuals, a patient and their physician. Again, it is my extreme pleasure to be able to welcome you here and to be with you tonight. Again, it is my extreme pleasure to be able to welcome you here and to be with you tonight. Thank you very kindly.
Next, I would like to invite Mrs. Sushma Swaraj to come to the podium. Ms. Swaraj, of course, is a member of Parliament, was the Secretary General of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and a Cabinet Minister and Chief Minister of Delhi, among various other positions in India. Ms. Swaraj.
Dr. Kalpalata Guntapalli, the President of AAPI, Dr. Satya Ahuja, the President-elect, Dr. Mahesh Gupta, distinguished guests on the dais, and my dear brothers and sisters from India. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Kalpalata and Dr. Mahesh Gupta for inviting me to this convention and providing me with an opportunity to meet with you, to interact with you, and to speak to you also for a few minutes. But do you know this fact? That when a mic is handed over to a politician, he or she can make up for all those who are not speaking. Friends, I was asked to speak by Dr. Mahesh Gupta on the role of physicians in improving Indo-US relations. Because I think all NRIs are unofficial ambassadors of my country. But when I see a physician, I see a very special role to be played by physicians in Indo-US relations. Because the relationship of doctor and patient is not an ordinary one. It is a relationship based on faith. It is a relationship based on trust and confidence. A person cannot take a medicine prescribed by anybody whom he does not have faith. Because relationship of faith is on much stronger ground. This relationship is firm and a sustained one. And I want that this relationship can be encashed in improving Indo-US relations. Therefore, I see you as opinion makers. I see you in the role of opinion leaders. This special relationship which you enjoy with the ordinary man of America, with the ordinary citizen of America, this we should translate so that it can be transferred to the policy department of the state government and it can improve the relationship. थोड़ी सी बात अब राष्ट्रभाषा में कर लूं, क्योंकि कारगिल की बात आई तो मुझे याद आ गया जिस समय देश छोड़ रही थी यहाँ आने के लिए तो मन बहुत अच्छा नहीं था, बेचैनी थी। एक बार सोचा ये कार्यक्रम कैंसिल कर दूं। डॉक्टर महेश गुप्ता को ईमेल भेजा, जिस तरह की हालात देश में हैं, डॉक्टर साहब मैं नहीं आना चाहूँगी। तो उन्होंने फ़ोन उठाकर मुझसे बात की और एक वाक्य कहा, मैं जानता हूँ आप वहाँ क्यों रुकना चाहती हैं, लेकिन जिस बात के लिए आप रुकना चाहती हैं सुषमा जी, उसी को लेकर हम भी तो तड़प रहे हैं। और अगर आप आएंगी तो आपसे बात करके शायद थोड़ी बेचैनी दूर हो जाए। और इस एक वाक्य ने मुझे आने पर विवश किया। और सच कहती हूँ, यहाँ आने के बाद जब एक एक व्यक्ति से मिली, हर आदमी ने अपनी कुशल क्षेम पूछने के बाद ये पूछा, देश का क्या हाल है, कारगिल में कैसा है, वहाँ के जवानों के लिए हम कुछ देना चाहें तो कहाँ भेजें, कैसे भेजें। सच मानिए, देश की तरफ से आप लोगों के लिए शुभकामनाएं लेकर आई हूँ, सद्भावनाएं लेकर आई हूँ भारतवासियों की तरफ से, पर आप लोगों की तरफ से एक नया हौसला लेकर जा रही हूँ, एक नई ताजगी लेकर जा रही हूँ। मेरी बहुत बहुत बधाई डॉक्टर कल्पलता को, डॉक्टर महेश गुप्ता को, जिन्होंने इतनी सुंदर कन्वेंशन यहाँ करके दिखाई। मेरी बहुत शुभकामनाएं डॉक्टर सत्य आहूजा को अगले साल के कार्यक्रम के लिए। आप लोग यहाँ देश से दूर बैठे हैं, मगर मन जुड़ा है आपका देश के साथ, ये देखकर अच्छा लगा। आप 7 समुंदर पार अपने लिए पैसा अर्जित करें, देश के लिए प्रतिष्ठा अर्जित करें। मेरी आप सबको बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं।
I would like to invite Dr. Marie Kuffner, President-elect of the California Medical Association, Dr. Kuffner is a professor of anesthesiology at UCLA and chair of the Practicing Physicians Advisory Council.
Thank you and good evening. Madam President, honored guests, officers of APPI, colleagues, and friends. And when I look at all of us and listen to what has gone on this evening and the happiness among colleagues and friends, it reminds me of how important it is for us to celebrate our profession. And with that spirit, I bring you greetings from the California Medical Association. And I'm happy to tell you that the Ethnic Medical Association, Ethnic Medical Organization of CMA, EMOS, was supposed to sunset next year, but the executive committee, partially because I urged them, but I can't take all the credit, has decided to make a recommendation that we continue with EMOS because it is so very important. And while we would like to bring all physicians into the mainstream, and that clearly is our goal, it's also important to have a focus and a place where you can come to express your specific needs that are not met in any other arena. And we are making progress together, and all I can say is that in diversity and in unity, there is strength. So let us stay together, let us join together, and I know that with you, we can all carry on this great work that needs to be done. Thank you.
At this stage, I would like to introduce very briefly Dr. Ruchi Gupta to say 2 points about the medical student and resident section. Dr. Gupta?
Thank you. This will be brief. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ruchi Gupta, and I am the president of the Medical Student Resident section of AAPI. This has been a tremendous year for the Medical Student Resident section. We've had our first 2 interim meetings focusing on medical student resident issues. We've developed an MSR website. We've updated our membership. We've had our first delegate, an MSR delegate to the AMA. And for next year, we're working on so many projects. We're going to develop a mentorship program between the medical students, residents, and AAPI physicians, and we hope to increase service opportunities for medical students and residents. I'd like to just take a minute to thank the executive committee of AAPI for their continued support and encouragement. This year would not have been possible without all of you. I'd like to thank the MSR officers for all their hard work, and I'd also like to thank Dr. Vinod Bhutani for his 3 years as academic chair and continuing to be an advocate for all medical students and residents. We're looking forward to a wonderful year this year. We just had our elections, and we have a really enthusiastic new crew. And I just want to thank you all for all your dedication, hard work, and support. Thank you.
Dr. Ahuja, I introduce the next president of AAPI. Dr. Guntapalli, if you would please pass the gavel. Go ahead.
I just want to say that there's something about ex-wives and past presidents. I'll be there when you need me to give you advice, and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Honored guests and dear friends, I've had a long association with AAPI. It has been extremely challenging and rewarding. We battled for fairness and equality in our adopted land. Our demands were reasonable, and our perseverance paid dividends. This will enable us to find speedy solutions to our common problems. Let us accept a challenge today. Can each one of you bring me 1 member next year? All I'm asking is 1. We can do a noble thing if we can help our next generation who have passed ECFMG or USMLE with less than 80% score. Today, they cannot even get an application for residency training and have to work as a physician assistant or a technician. While we spend our energies on these areas for fairness, we need to go beyond our normal routines to serve people in the United States who lack adequate medical care. I would like to establish quote-unquote centers of excellence in India in providing cutting-edge technology. Many lower and middle-class population in India cannot afford to go from a small town to big cities like Bombay to get cancer treatment. My goal for this year is to support 3 charitable cancer centers with diagnostic and therapeutic equipment. At this point, I would like to extend my thanks to the local convention committee for their zeal, hospitality, and excellent arrangements. Lastly, please permit me to introduce my team for the coming year. Dr. Dayanand Naik, my President-elect, Dr. Dayanand Naik, my Vice President, Dr. Jaishankar, Secretary, Dr. Kiran Patel, and the new kid on the block, the young man, our new treasurer, Dr. Suryakant Patel. And we have 9 regional directors. For the Pacific region, your past president from this region, Dr. Priya Perpiani. For Mountain region, Dr. Gulshan Sethi. Northwest Central region, Dr. Sachi Mahapatra. Southwest region, Dr. Narendra Monga for the Texas region. Northeast Central region, Dr. Suresh Gupta from Michigan. Southeast Central, Dr. Vijayappa Reddy from Tennessee. New England region, Dr. Babu Ramdev from Connecticut. Mid-Atlantic, Dr. Shashidhar Reddy from upstate New York. And South Atlantic region, Dr. Raj Gupta. And with this, I'd like to thank you all, and I hope you'll keep that promise for 1 member per person next year. Thank you.
Dr. Bala, if you would please come and offer the vote of thanks. I know it's a long list, but do your best.
Well, I'm the last speaker, so I believe the band will take another 20 minutes or so. So they've asked me to fill in for 20 minutes. I'll try to make it 2 minutes. How about that? Is that okay? All right. Dr. Kalpalata Guntupalli, Dr. Satya Ahuja, distinguished guests on the podium, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure and privilege to thank all of you to be here today, be here for the last 2 days, put up with us as part of the convention committee, and forgive us for any shortcomings we may have had. But we have had fun having you. Don't take 17 years to come back. Come back soon, maybe in the next millennium. But let's make it shorter. It's also my privilege to tell you a few firsts. First time the convention has been held in the Southland. First time we have had the largest number of attendees. We also had the largest number of exhibitors in the 17-year history. We have had 120 exhibitors that were sold off about 2 months ago. Once again, the convention committee did a great job, and thank you for the convention committee. And finally, and not the last, is the leadership at AAPI. We really appreciate this opportunity you gave us for us to come together to put up this convention. After almost 1 year, I think I counted 30 weeks of meetings, 300 phone calls, and I don't know what else. This team of ours, we have come together, this camaraderie that we have established, that we are able to speak to each and every one of the conventions committee. So you have bonded us, and I thank the leadership at AAPI for giving us this opportunity. Having said this, I still don't see the band. Are we ready? They say they are ready, General. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm now going to hand over this mic to Preeti Shah and the orchestra. So they are going to entertain you for the rest of the night. Namaste, and we'll see you in the next millennium in New York.
Thank you, Dr. Bala. As the band gets set up and as we break down the tables, we will be setting up the raffle.